All right, folks, before you dive into this story, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon. Why? Because you're about to embark on a wild ride into the past, filled with secrets, forgotten prototypes, and missed opportunities. This is the story of how Soviet engineers invented the Uzi years before the Uzi was even a thing. A story that was almost lost to history. It's going to be loud, fascinating, and full of what-ifs. And of course, at the end, I have a big question for you. So make sure you drop your answer in the comments. Let's get started. Shadows of the past. Picture a dusty testing range somewhere outside Moscow. The year is 1942. The roar of World War II echoes from the West, and every day on the front lines is a battle for the fate of the world. To this secret proving ground, they bring not standard-issue rifles, but something strange, futuristic, almost alien for its time. The wooden crates are opened, and inside is, no, not the PPSH, the submachine gun every school kid knows. This is something compact with a bizarre shape, where the magazine is built right into the pistol grip. Engineers in uniform watch nervously as a soldier shoulders this wonder weapon. Shots ring out. Short, unfamiliar. It's not the blast of a Katyusha rocket launcher. It's the sound of a future that never was. These are the Soviet Uzis. Years before Israel. Years before the fame. You think that Uzi is purely an Israeli innovation? I'm sorry to break it to you. Long before Uzielgal became a household name, in the Soviet Union, under the brutal conditions of the World War, weapons engineers in quiet offices and noisy factories were brainstorming ideas that were decades ahead of their time. This isn't just a story about guns. It's a story about geniuses born in the wrong era, about a war that dictated its own harsh rules, and about why some ideas take the world by storm while others gather dust in secret archives. Get ready. We're going where few historians have gone. We'll dust off old blueprints, read classified reports, and understand how legends are born and how they die. The philosophy of the fist. Why submachine guns? Before we talk about specific models, let's understand the very essence of this weapon class. Why did it appear? Is it an overgrown pistol or an undergrown rifle? The trench truth of World War I. It all started in the mud and cold of trench warfare. Long rifles with powerful cartridges were great for shooting across no man's land. But what happened when an enemy soldier jumped into your trench? In that tight space where you can't maneuver, your rifle became a useless club. Pistols were weak, and reloading them took forever. They needed something in between. A weapon for point-blank range. A weapon for close-quarters combat that could unleash a hailstorm of lead in seconds. Thus, the submachine gun was born. Its heart is the pistol cartridge. Yes, it's weaker than a rifle round. Its effective range is only 250 yards. But that was its very strength. A weak cartridge meant weak recoil, allowing for fully automatic fire without losing control. Its compact size made it ideal for assault troops, to be the first ones storming into enemy trenches, paratroopers, to jump from planes where every gram and centimeter counts, tank crews, to have a powerful yet compact weapon for self-defense outside their armored vehicle, officers, a light and effective argument solver in a close-range firefight. The submachine gun never competed with the rifle. It was its younger, but viciously angry brother. It worked where the rifle was helpless. It was the voice of intimacy, the whisper of death at arm's length. The Israeli phenomenon. How the Uzi was born. Now let's jump to the Middle East, the late 1940s. The young state of Israel is fighting for its survival. Its army is a collection of enthusiasts with weapons from all over the world. German MP40s, British Stens, American Thompsons. A logistical nightmare. Different ammo, different parts, different tactics. They needed their own weapon. Simple as a shovel, reliable as a hammer, cheap to produce, and unfailing in desert sandstorms. And onto the stage steps a humble engineer, Uzielgal. Genius or borrowed brilliance? His creation, dubbed the Uzi, was genius in its simplicity. The telescoping bolt, a design where the bolt wraps around the barrel, allowed the weapon to be shortened without sacrificing barrel length. And the magazine housed in the pistol grip, that was a masterstroke. It made the weapon intuitive, easy to reload by feel in the dark, and perfectly balanced. But here's the catch. Years before Gal, in 1948, Czechoslovakia had already produced the SA-23 submachine gun, designed by Yaroslav Halacek, and it had the exact same layout. Was Gal familiar with the Czech design? There's no definitive proof. Perhaps great minds think alike. Or perhaps the seeds of this brilliant idea were planted much, much earlier. And the soil for them wasn't the Negev Desert, but the snow-dusted fields outside Moscow. The Soviet prophets, a triumvirate of unrecognized geniuses. Now for the really exciting part. Let's go back to our 1942. While some designers were stamping out the tried-and-true PPSH and PPS, others were looking to the future. The pioneer, the mysterious Shuklin. Almost nothing is known about him. No photos, no blueprints of his creation survive. Only a dry report from the main artillery director at GU that miraculously made it to our time, thanks to historians like Andrei Ulanov. So what was this weapon? Shuklin aimed to do nothing less than replace the pistol. He wanted to create not just a submachine gun, but a personal defense weapon for officers, tankers, and signalers that would be as compact as a pistol, but have the firepower of a submachine gun. A technical marvel. He used the telescoping bolt design. The bolt, like a cap, slid over the barrel. This cut the weapon's length down to a ridiculous 13.6 inches. The bolt travel was just 1.6 inches. Imagine this compact brick with a heavy bolt weighing over a pound. The magazine, as you've guessed, was in the grip. It was a breakthrough, a real breakthrough. Why was it rejected? The GU report was merciless. Manufacturing complexity. It's war. Machine tools, skilled workers, time, all are precious. Shuklin's design required precise turning and, especially, milling work. You couldn't just stamp it out on an assembly line like the PPSH. Accuracy. A light, short weapon is hard to control in full auto. Its precision suffered. The main enemy, dirt, dust, and sand, getting into the gap between the barrel and bolt, immediately caused jams. In the grime of the trenches, that was a death sentence. The GU's conclusion: further development is not advisable. And Shuklin's project faded into oblivion. But the seed had been planted. The practitioner, the trials of Rukavishnikov. That same year, 1942, another engineer's prototype was tested, Rukavishnikov's. And here's the sensation. A single specimen, it seems, has survived. It's kept in St. Petersburg, in the famous Artillery Museum. What was it like? It was a weapon with a rounded receiver, vaguely resembling the future Uzi. The shoulder stock could be slid forward, making it even more compact. The magazine was in the grip. No foregrip, no additional handle. Pure minimalism. Why did it meet the same fate? The commission again criticized the design for being labor-intensive and having low manufacturability. And again, that killer phrase, sensitivity to contamination. Two geniuses, two identical fates. The war did not forgive complexity. The tenacious, Pushkin's last attempt. You'd think the topic was closed. But no. In 1945, as the war was ending, engineer Pushkin returned to this same layout. His model was even more refined. A folding stock, a ventilated barrel jacket, a muzzle brake to try and tame the fury of the automatic fire. And here we encounter the main paradox. Pushkin overcame the main problem of his predecessors: weight. His submachine gun was lighter than the mass-produced PPS. But how did he manage it? By making the bolt lighter. It was 5.8 ounces lighter. And this became his fatal mistake. Physics versus genius. A light bolt combined with a powerful cartridge led to an incredible rate of fire, 1,040 rounds per minute. For comparison, The PPS fired at a rate of 650. This wasn't shooting, it was a wild, uncontrollable lead shower. Calculations showed the bolt reached its rearward position at a speed of nearly 26 feet per second, 4 times faster than the PPS. The result was predictable and terrible. During burst fire, the weapon literally fell apart before their eyes. The bolt couldn't handle the monstrous loads and developed cracks. It was impossible to fire more than 2 or 3 rounds without a jam. Cartridges jammed and misfed. Reliability was zero. The commission's conclusion was final and, alas, justified. The creation of a functional model is highly unlikely. The era of the Soviet Uzis was over, having never truly begun. Economics and timing. Why one country succeeded and the other didn't. Now, let's ask the central question. Why did Israel succeed where the USSR did not? This is a question not just for engineers, but for economists and for history itself. The Soviet Union, the 1940s. Context, a total war of annihilation. Economic task, mobilization. Producing the maximum quantity of simple, cheap, reliable weapons. The motto, simpler, even simpler, was a matter of survival. Priorities, mass production, field repairability, ruggedness. The PPSH and PPS were perfect for this. They could be stamped out by the millions at any factory. The cost of experimentation, refining complex designs like Shuklin's or Pushkin's required time, resources, and R&D that were all dedicated to the immediate needs of the front. The war left no room for breakthroughs in the distant future. They had to survive today. Israel, the 1950s, building an army from scratch, facing numerous enemies. Economic task, not mass production on a world war scale, but creating an effective, standardized weapon for a relatively small but highly motivated professional army. Convenience, ergonomics, manufacturability for their own production lines. The Uzi turned out to be ideal for Israeli defense industry capabilities. It was simpler to make than the German MP40 and, after some tweaks, perfect for desert conditions. The export factor. The Uzi was created with an eye on the international market from the very start. Its recognizable design became a brand. It became more than a weapon. It became a symbol, a commodity. The economy of a small country got a massive boost from selling licenses and finished weapons all over the globe. The verdict: the USSR in the 40s was a giant fighting for its life. It had no time for refinements. Israel in the 50s was a young, ambitious nation that needed its own, unique voice in the world of arms. And found it. Timing and place decided everything. The alternate history that never was. What if Shuklin or Rukavishnikov had been given another 5 years? What if it hadn't been war, but peacetime, that allowed them to refine their designs? Would we see Shuklins in the hands of action heroes today instead of Uzis? Maybe, but history doesn't do what-ifs. The Soviet engineers were prophets without honor in their own country. They saw the path, but walking in under those conditions was impossible. They sowed the seed that sprouted in a different land and bore fruit under a different name. Their tragedy is the tragedy of being ahead of their time. They were born in the wrong era, but their contribution to weapons history is no less for it. They were titans whose shadows remain forever on the walls of those secret proving grounds. And that's the end of our saga about the Soviet Uzis. This story makes you wonder, how many other brilliant ideas were lost to war, bureaucracy, or just plain bad luck? What do you think? If it weren't for the war, could Soviet engineers have created a Slavic Uzi that would have overshadowed the Israeli original? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Heated debates and well-argued points are more than welcome. And of course, if you found this as fascinating to read as I did to put together, support the channel, subscribe, smash that like button, share this story with your friends. There are plenty more untold tales and forgotten weapons waiting for us. See you in the next one.